Alright guys, this is how you find, this is your distance on a coordinate plane. This will be our last kind of thing that we're going to talk about as far as using the Pythagorean theorem. In this case, what we're going to be looking at is finding the distance between 2 points on a coordinate plane. And in this case, we're going to be looking at using the Pythagorean theorem to help us find what is the hypotenuse or the diagonal in this case. Okay? These notes will also help you with the IXL in 4 as well. These will also help you with these, so that's why it's important that we do not throw this paper away, especially when we get finished, because this will help you find N4 and the other things as far as studying for your tests and also doing other work as well. Okay, so let's take a look at what's going on here as far as finding the distance amongst these things. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So what we have here is we have a note lesson that's going to take the first page and the second page, and then you are going to be required to do the homework page, which has got a front and it has a back. Okay, and then we will be able to check for understanding and be able to look at that. Best case scenario on how to use this video is to, after you get a hang of it by doing like maybe one or two, is to pause the video, work on one, then use it to check and turn it back on, and then use it to check your work to make sure that you have this and that you are understanding of what's going on. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started about what's going on, and this is the first part about finding the distance on the coordinate plane. Now, it's pretty simple to see that when you do these kind of like on graph A here, that it's pretty easy to be able to tell the distance between point A and point B. Like how far apart is it from point A and point B? I'll zoom in here so you can see it. So all you're pretty much looking at is, okay, if I'm at point A, I'm trying to get to point B, that's 1, 2, 3 spaces apart, so this will become 3 units apart in this case. So from A to B, we can easily count how far away it is. But what happens then if we get something that looks like graph B, a diagonal? Well, the diagonal is different. I can't sit here and I can't count how many it is because it's not going to it's not going to be the correct way to do that. What I have to do is I have to make what is called a right triangle. And when I make that right triangle, you should be able to see up here in graph B that if I put a point someplace, where could I put a point that will make or turn that line into a right triangle? And so after I do that, this is what I look is I can see if I can put a point right there. And I now have a right triangle. And right there's my right angle. So now that I have a right triangle, I can now use the Pythagorean theorem. I can now use my Pythagorean theorem, and we all should remember what that says. A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared, and I can be able to now find the diagonal, which would be my hypotenuse. Okay, that is going to be my hypotenuse. The diagonal distance would represent the hypotenuse, or in this case, my hypotenuse, or my final answer, the distance between the 2 points. Okay, so here's what we have. So here's my hypotenuse, and that's what I don't know. I don't know the difference between A and, in this case, C. But I did make this point B here. And now I can be able to work this out because I can see that the distance from A to B is 1, 2, 3. I know the distance now on the bottom leg is 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can now use that to find my hypotenuse. And since I'm finding the hypotenuse, I'm just going to add them up. And so I write down my Pythagorean theorem. I know my A is 3. I know my B is 4. I'm going to square them. And when I do that, I get 25 equals C squared. And remember, that's the area. So I got to take the square root to find the length. So my length there is 5. And it's pretty straightforward right there. I know that my units from A to C has a distance of 5 units. So I found my answer. So if you have a diagonal we're going to make a right triangle, use the Pythagorean theorem, finding the sides. Now I'm going to use the Pythagorean theorem to find the hypotenuse, and that is my solution. Okay? So let's take a look here at number 1. If I'm going to do number 1 here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use my steps. The first step is I'm going to make a right triangle. So I have A and B. I'm going to find where I can put it, and I can put it right there. Okay? And that is going to be my next point, and I can now have my right triangle. And I'm looking, okay? My second step here will be to label the hypotenuse, which will be right here, because there's my right angle. And now I can be able to solve and find out what my leg lengths are by counting the units, and then I can put it in my equation. I'm good to go. So if I count this, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know that's a 5. I can count this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a 4. And now I can use my a squared plus b squared equals c squared. It's always important to write that down and fill in what we know. I know I've got a leg of 4. I got another leg of 5. And I can be able to solve that. And I get 41 equals c squared. And I take the square root of that. And it gives me, to round it up, about 6.4. So that's the distance between A and B. That's it. So pretty much I just follow those steps and I'm good to go. I'm golden. I got my answer. Same way with number 2. So this would be a time that if you want to try number 2 on your own, you would pause the video, try it on your own, then check back to see if you got this right. It's the same thing. So try that. Follow the steps. Make a right triangle. So I find my right triangle. I can put another point right there. And I now have a right triangle right here. There it is. Number 2, I'm going to label the hypotenuse. E-N-U-S-E. It's right here. It's the longest side. And then I'm just going to be able to solve my equations. A squared, B squared equals C squared. Count up how many I have. Well, I've got this side to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have this side here to be 1, 2. So I have a 7 by 2 triangle. Put it in there. 7 squared plus 2 squared equals C squared. I'm going to end up getting 53 equals C squared. I'm going to take this, the square root of that, and it turns into be 7.3. And that is the distance of A to B, 7.3. So this distance right here from A to B is 7.3 using my Pythagorean theorem. So here it is, another one. So you try this one on your own. Pause the video, watch it, pause the video, you try the problem, make your right triangle, label your hypotenuse, use your Pythagorean theorem, and you will be able to see that answer. Okay, and then you can hit play and see how I did, see if your answer matches up. Okay? Alright, hopefully you're back now. You paused the video and you're ready to see this. So there's your other point right there. You've got your right triangle. It's a pretty big right triangle. There's your hypotenuse right there. Okay, so we've done part 1, make a right triangle. We've done number 2, we labeled our hypotenuse, and we're able to figure out what's going on. So if I take this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Got a side of 8. And if I do the other side, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Right there. And I'm good to go. And I put it in there, and you should be able to find that that's 8 squared and 8 squared there. And it becomes 128. If you take the square root of that, I get to be 11.3. Those are my units for that one, is 11.3. So I have that one solved, and I'm good to go. Alright, so those are your first three. Pretty simple. So just go through your steps, make the right triangle, label your hypotenuse, and you got your solutions. Alright. Your last ones here, 4 through 6. Alright, so take a look at these. There they are. So you should be able to do those pretty well. You're going to use these by plotting them onto your graph and then being able to solve your distance between those 2 points. Alright, so if you do number 4, we'll look, we can plot those points. -6, 1 will be right there. And then if I plot the next one, -4, 5. So here's -4 and down to 5. I'm sorry, up to 5, which would be right up there. Now I can be able to find my distance between those 2 points. So I plotted that one, and so the first step is same thing, make a right triangle. So I'm going to make my right triangle. So here's, I'm going to call it A, and there's B. There's my right triangle. I got my distance here is C. And then right there's my hypotenuse. So then I know that this is 1, 2. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I got 4 by 2. I put it into my equation. 4 squared plus 2 squared equals C squared. I'm going to get 4 squared plus 2 squared. So that's 16 plus 4 is 20. Take the square root of 20. When I take the square root of 20, I should end up something with almost 5. If I get the square root of 20, tell me the distance is 4.47, which I'm going to round to 4.5. So that's the distance between A and B. Okay, that's the distance. That's my answer. So I'm good to go. And this was number 4 right there. Okay, so if I want to plot another point there, so I got -7 and 4, -3. So I'm going to put that one right here. There's -7, -7. I'm going to plot the point. -7, -7. Label that A. I'm going to label this one B. 4, -3. Go over 4 down to -3. There it is, part B. So now all I need to do is make my triangle. There it is. There's my big triangle. That's number 5 right there. So I just count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. So I got 4 by 11. There's my right angle. So I'm looking for my hypotenuse. So I'm going to just add those together. So I follow my steps. I made my right triangle, found my hypotenuse. I'm going to put it in my equation. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Solving for the C. And when I do that real quick, I'm going to end up getting 11 squared, which is 121, plus 16. And take the square root of that. And my final solution should be, after I add them and put them together, take the square root, my distance is 11.7. That's my distance between A and B. Right there. So between A and B, it's 11.7 units. All right, that's number 5. So number 6, you should be able to pause this video, plot your points, be able to use the same thing to find what it's going to be, and then be able to check your answers so that you know what you're doing. So number 6, you should go ahead and do that. Pause the video, plot your points, make your triangle, solve to see how long it is to see. Okay, and then you can come back and watch to make sure that I got that right. All right, welcome back. You should have that already. So 0, 2 is my next point here. So 0, 2, there it is. And then 7, 7, right there. And I'm making my triangle to connect those two. Here's number 6, A and B. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's a 5 by 7 triangle. I'm looking for the C there. So I got 5 squared plus 7 squared. equals the c squared. So that becomes 25 plus 49, which turns into 74. I got to take the square root of 74. It's going to tell me my answer, or the distance, and it's 8.6. That's my distance. So hopefully you had that one right, and you checked it with me. That's it. 8.6. All right. So basically, when you do N4 tonight, or anytime you do that, you're going to have to be doing these on paper or on your graph there, and be able to do find your triangle. If they give you 2 points like this, pull out some graph paper and put it into your equation. Into your graph, and count up your triangle. Just takes a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, and you'll be able to get those real quick. All right. So number 7 and 8 are a little more thinking of a problem of what to do. It's just asking you to find the perimeter. So basically, it's perimeter, remember, is adding these all together. And so I'm going to do this one. This is a trapezoid. And when you notice here, the trapezoid, you have a triangle. You have a triangle right here. And I'm going to use this triangle to help me find my hypotenuse using the Pythagorean theorem. And I should be able to also be able to find these as well, just by counting. Okay? All right? So let's see what happens. All right? So if this side right here, let's find the hypotenuse first. So when I do that here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure I count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I know that's 8. And then I know this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I got an 8 by 6 triangle there that I need to find this side. So all right, let's see what this would be. So this becomes 8 squared, 6 squared equals c squared. Becomes 100. And I can take the square root of that, which gives me 10. So I know that this side is 10. Okay? But I'm not done there yet, because I want to find the perimeter. So the perimeter is the distance all the way around this shape right there in the pink. And I need to add them together. So let's find what our sides are going to be. So I know this is 10. I can count this now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I know that's 6. I know this must be 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I know that's 8. And I know this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I know that's 6. And I know that's already 6 too. So I'm just going to add them up. 10, 6, 8, 6, and another 6. When I add those up together, you get a total for a perimeter to be 36 units. So that would be my perimeter around that shape. So just to kind of recap what I did, I found the distance first by finding my right triangle using the Pythagorean theorem. Found my distance to be 10. Then I was able to find the distance of all these by just counting how many spots they were, and all the way around, and added them up and got 36. That's pretty much straightforward. Okay? So here's number 8, same way. It's a parallelogram. You should be able to see the 2 right triangles that are in this parallelogram. So here they are. My first right triangle is right here, and there's my second right triangle. Okay? And then I've got a square that's in the middle. And I want to find the perimeter. I want to find the perimeter of this whole parallelogram. Okay? So the first step, what I need to do is find the diagonals. And then the rest is just counting up how long the rest of it is and putting it together. So if I do this here, I know I need to find how long my sides are. So that's 1, 2, 3. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4. And it should be the same thing here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay? So now I can just find my diagonal. So if I find my diagonal, it's a 3 by 4. So 3 squared, 4 squared, c squared, I'm going to get 25, and my c is now 5 by the square root. So I know that's 5, I know that's 5. Now we just have to count up what we got. So here we go. So I got 5 here, plus 3 here, plus that 3, plus that 5. And this right here is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I got 2 6s to add. There they are. So I know my distance now. I'm not going to put these 4s because they're not around the outside. I just want the outside for my area. So 5, 5, 3, 3, 6, and 6. Add them all up together. So I got 10, 16, 22, 28. So my answer there is 28 units. And I'm done. So I'm done. It's 28 units long. Okay? Now I'm on to my last one here, being able to solve for these. Back down here, what I want you to do is I'm going to change these to just 1 mile. So you should be able to do these things. So this thing's what we've got is A represents Ashley's house, B represents Bridget's house, C represents Carly's house. And all we're doing here is forming our triangles, being able to locate how far away these things are. So the first one's asking you to the nearest tenth, how many miles is Ashley to Bridget's house? So they want to know this right here. They want to know this hypotenuse right there. So the same step, gotta make a triangle. There it is. Oops. There it is right there. There's my triangle. There's my right angle. And I just need to measure out my sides and I can put them together. So this right here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is 5. When I count this up, I get 11. Put it into my equation. A squared, B squared equals C squared. I get 5 squared plus 11 squared equals C squared. Turns into 146, which I take the square root of. Gives me 12.1 units. Got that answer. Okay, done with that one. Part B, how far is it from Ashley to Carly's house? So I'm going from Ashley to Carly's house. Now this one's kind of a tight fit, but you can see here. There's Ashley to Carly's house right there. I'll make it blue. It's blue. I'm going to highlight it here in the pink. And I need to make a right triangle. So there's my right triangle that I'm going to use. It's right there in the pink. And I'm looking for this side right here. So I just find this out. This is 2. This is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I got a 10 by 2 triangle. I'm looking for the hypotenuse, so I put it into my equation. 10 squared plus 2 squared. And I get 100 plus 4. So it gives me the square root of 104. Which if I take the square root of 104, I'm going to get 10.19, which turns into be 10.2 units. That's the distance. So part C says, whose house does Ashley live closest to and by how many miles? So obviously you see here that she lives 10.2 units away from Carly's house. She lives 12.1 units away from Bridget's house. So obviously she lives closer to Carly. And by a total of 12.1 minus 10.2, put that in, and you get a difference of 1.9 mile or units or miles, whatever you want to call it there. That's it. So you're going to have an exact same one to do on this one that for your homework as well. So you should be able to handle that one. Perimeters you should be able to handle, especially these. If you just take your time and draw your triangle, set up your equation, you'll do okay with these. So You have the next choice to do these homework here. So make sure that you set up your triangles, find your next point, find the diameter. The hypotenuse. Same thing here. Graph the 2 points, find where the next where the point is that's going to make a triangle, find your legs, find your hypotenuse. Same thing here with these. Find the perimeter of the trapezoid. We did one. Number 5 is just like number 7. Follow the steps. Go back and watch the video on that one again. Okay, you should be able to handle that one. The last one here is going to be the same. I'm going to, instead of treating these as 0.75, treat them as just 1 mile. Okay, just read what it says to do. How many miles from Jim's house to the mall? Here's Jim's house to the mall. Make your triangle. That's all we're doing is making triangles. And you should be able to handle that and solve that question out and be able to answer these questions. Okay? If you have any questions or anything, please ask. But always go back and review your notes. We don't just make these just for you just to see them. Go back and review your notes. Watch the video again if you need to. All right, see you later.